Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Crush Cravings Before Diabetes Crushes You. I'm your host, Karen Sammer. I'm a board-certified health and wellness coach, and I help people who are pre-diabetic and overweight to overcome the cravings that keep holding them hostage so that they can lose the weight they need to lose and avoid a lifetime of medication. And today I wanted to talk to you about something that is near and dear to my heart and sometimes elusive for me, and that is a good night's sleep. I happened to go to bed last night. I was able to go to sleep before midnight, which is amazing. And I woke up this morning around, 6:30 or so, and I felt incredible. It has been the longest time since I felt like I had a full night's sleep. So I have to hit that exact sweet spot as far as my sleep goes in order to feel rested. If I sleep too much, I wake up feeling groggy. If I don't sleep enough, I wake up feeling cranky, I guess is the word, or just exhausted and not really well rested. So this morning I hit the sweet spot overnight, and I was able to get up this morning feeling really good, and I was very productive before I decided to come here and do this little this Facebook Live. So sleep is amazing for you as far as doing so many different things. It is crucial for your good health. But with respect to your blood sugar, it does help to regulate your blood sugar. And it helps to regulate your hunger hormones, and it helps to support all the systems in your body. When you are able to regulate your hunger hormones, your leptin and your ghrelin are in balance. Leptin is your satiety hormone and ghrelin is your hunger hormone. When those things are working the way they're supposed to, then you know how you can eat a nourishing food. If you're eating nourishing food, your body will naturally let you stop. You won't constantly have a need for more food. If your leptin is working properly, if your ghrelin is working properly, you start to feel hungry when you truly are hungry, as opposed to craving or having hunger pangs because you're being triggered by something, or that you had a lack of sleep if you did not sleep. And very often what happens is when you don't sleep well, you end up with feeling hungry or developing cravings that you might not otherwise have because your hormones are all wacky. Your hunger hormones are not working well. So what does that mean? It means you need to sleep. But as we get older, sleep can be elusive. It can be difficult to come by. I know in my own situation, there are times that I am up until 1 o'clock in the morning wide awake. I'll be falling asleep at 7, trying to struggle to stay awake because it's too early for me to go to bed. Because if I went to bed at 7 o'clock, I'd be awake at 11, and that would be it for me. So I have to stay awake. But then what happens is I force myself to stay awake at the 7 o'clock mark. And once I do, then I get a second wind. And I'm sometimes up until 1 o'clock in the morning. And I still have to get up at 6:30 in the morning to start my day. So I'm not getting enough sleep. Because for me, the sweet spot is about 7 hours. And if I can get 7 hours of good solid sleep, then I can conquer the day. So my almost normal kind of existence is being awake until midnight or 1 o'clock and having a hard time getting to sleep. And I don't go to bed unless I'm sleepy. Because if I do that and I'm lying there wide awake, it just becomes irritating to me. And then I can't sleep. So I wait until I am sleepy to go to sleep or to go to bed and try to get to sleep. And that seems to work for me. Last night at 10:15, I was feeling sleepy and I did not ignore it. I went upstairs, I took a shower as I normally will and did all my nighttime stuff. And then I got into bed and went to sleep, and I was asleep before 11 o'clock. And that was amazing. That was just so cool because then I got about, because I get up frequently to go to the bathroom during the night. I probably got a good 7 hours of sleep last night because I was able to, not only was I able to get to sleep fairly quickly, but I also, when I got up a few times during the night, I was able to get right back to sleep. And all of those things lined up, while they seem insignificant, are very significant for a good night's sleep. And when you do that, when you get a good night's sleep, your systems all seem to work better. You have more energy during the day. You have the ability to control what you eat. You have the ability you have the cognitive ability that might elude you if you're working on less sleep than you optimally need. And so I feel, much sharper. I'm able to think better. I'm able to make better decisions. My mood is better. All of the things, as anybody would feel like, and all of the things are running at a much higher level when you get enough sleep. But unfortunately, in our society, we value, I think erroneously, we value this kind of go, go, go mentality, the busyness of life. And we think, a lot of people think sleep is a waste of time. I've heard the term, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, you'll be dead a lot sooner if you don't sleep now. And you do need to sleep between 7 and 9 hours a night. In a darkened room, preferably in a cooler temperature. Darkened room, electronics not by your bed. Keep your phone away from your head while you're sleeping, because those EMFs, electromagnetic fields that are emitted from your electronic devices, are bombarding you all night long, and they do interrupt your sleep. But making sure that you're in a darkened room, quiet, no disruptions, no TV, no anything that's going to provide light. If you have light emitting things, or you have ambient light outside, street lights or whatever is happening, if you're in an area where you're not in darkness, wear an eye mask to darken the room for yourself, so that you can sleep you can sleep in total darkness, because that helps your brain to do what it needs to do in a lot more effective way. Then also, when you're preparing for sleep, have a nighttime routine. Practice good sleep hygiene. Good sleep hygiene is shutting off electronics within at least an hour before you go to sleep. Have a quiet wind down sort of ritual that you do, whether it's reading a book, maybe meditating, maybe praying, whatever, maybe just sitting quietly. Whatever your wind down routine is for the night, do that every night before you go to sleep, because all of these things trigger they set off a reaction in your body. Your body's going to know after a while that when you're doing these things, that means it must be time to go to sleep, and your melatonin production will be adequate so that you can wind down and go to sleep. But you need to really shut off the blue lights, the TVs, the computers, the iPads, the phones, all of the things that emit blue light, because when your eyes are perceiving blue light, your brain is perceiving daytime. And that means that your melatonin production will be reduced, and your melatonin is what helps you to get to sleep at night. And your brain thinks it's daytime, so it will disrupt your sleep cycle, and and you won't get the quality of sleep that you require in order for you to get fully rested and restored all of your systems back to where they need to be. So, making sure electronics are off, having a bedtime routine that triggers or signals to your brain that it's time to go to sleep. Sometimes, so I don't know your preference. Maybe, for showering, I like to shower at night before I go to sleep, because I feel like that helps to relax me. I take a nice hot shower, and when I get out, the change in temperature from the hot shower to the cool air helps to downregulate your system, your nervous system, and also signals you that it's time to sleep, if that is your habit. So that's what I do every night. I take a shower and get out into the cool air, dry off, and get right into bed under the covers. My bedroom is cool. I try to make it dark, although I do, because I have tinnitus. I do need some sound at night so that I don't hear the sounds in my ears, and so I have something on in the background. I'm not if it's the TV, I'm not watching it. Although I shouldn't have the TV on, but sometimes just the sound of the TV is all I need to go to sleep. Or I will put on some music, or some sort of a chant, or a guided meditation or something before I go to sleep. And that helps. The soothing voice that I hear helps me to not hear all the crackling and the buzzing and all the noise in my ears, so that I can get to sleep. And then I try to sleep through the night. I try to limit liquid consumption for a while before I go to sleep. I also don't eat anything after dinner time. So whatever time dinner is over, and I try to make it as early as possible. I like to not be eating past 6 o'clock. I don't eat anything after that. And I try to limit liquid consumption after that as well, so that I don't get up during the night to go to the bathroom, because that is, it's still interrupting my sleep. So if you stop eating several hours before you go to sleep, that helps your body to rest better as well, because your body's not focused on digesting. If you give at least 3 hours from the time that you last consume food until you go to bed, hopefully all of that food will have been digested at that point, and that your body's not worried about digesting food while you're trying to sleep. And so I try to stop eating by 6 o'clock, and I don't consume anything after dinner other than maybe a drink of water or maybe herbal tea or something like that. No caffeine. Any caffeine that I consume is in green tea, and I drink that in the morning only. And green tea doesn't have a whole lot of caffeine in it. It's got a lot of other benefits that kind of override the caffeine. So I don't consume caffeine other than that, and that's not even daily. But if you are a caffeine consumer, if you do drink coffee on a regular basis, if you drink tea on a regular basis, or anything else that's caffeinated, I would urge you to, if you have trouble sleeping at night, to stop the caffeine early in the afternoon. Actually, by lunchtime would be optimal, because caffeine has a very long half-life, and it stays in your system for many hours after you have consumed it. So you need to make sure that you put enough time between your last consumption of caffeine and your bedtime, so that it had a chance to fully dissipate, be metabolized throughout it and out of your system. So caffeine, limit caffeine consumption. Don't eat before you go to bed, or don't eat for many hours before you go to bed, several hours. Exercise, but don't exercise right before bed. Exercise sometime during the day, so that your body has a chance to unwind from that. If you exercise right before bed, sometimes that amps you up. If you find that exercising wakes you up, don't do that before bed. Now, you might do a few yoga stretches or something calming, but I wouldn't do any kind of aerobic exercise or weight training or anything that makes you exert yourself, because it will wake you up, and you'll have a difficult time getting to sleep. So making sure that you do regular exercise, but don't do it right before bed. And throughout the day, make sure that you are consuming enough water so that you don't become dehydrated overnight, because that also can cause you to have an interrupted sleep and not sleep well. Your body needs to be fully hydrated, and you do become dehydrated overnight anyway, but don't start out that way. Don't start your night that way, because all your systems need plenty of water to function properly. And as you're sleeping, you're perspiring, you're respiring, you're breathing, your water is being evaporated from your skin, and all of these things are pulling water out of your body. And by the time you wake up in the morning, you're already dehydrated. So don't begin your night that way. Make sure that you are fully hydrated throughout the day, but also limit your liquid consumption before you go to bed. So if you're drinking throughout the day, you don't really need to drink a ton before you go to sleep. If you find that you haven't had enough to drink during the day, and you try to pound it before you go to bed, I think that's going to be a disappointing night of sleep for you, because you're still going to have to eliminate that water. And once you lie down, your kidneys fill up, your bladder fills up very quickly, and everything kind of moves through your system, and you're up several times during the night. Trust me, I've done it, and it isn't a good way to spend your night. What else do you need to know about sleeping?
Let's go way on, way back when. I didn't even know you couldn't have been too much more than 10.
it's just really important for your blood sugar regulation too, because when you are dehydrated, your body is under stress. And when you're under stress, then your blood sugar goes crazy. Because as I told you before, stress is perceived as danger in your body. And when your body perceives danger, it's going to send glucose to your muscles to get you out of the stressful situation or help you fight the stressful situation. But if you're constantly doing that because of the stress that we're under, if you're constantly doing that, your body gets into a fatigue situation and you become insulin resistant, and the insulin no longer opens the door for the glucose to get into your cells. So then that glucose backs up into your bloodstream, and then you can become diabetic if that continues to happen over and over and over again. And your body doesn't use the insulin properly, and then eventually your pancreas just gets tired and maybe doesn't produce insulin or doesn't produce it effectively. And that's when you need chemical intervention. But it doesn't have to get to that. And I'm talking about type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is a different situation. That is an autoimmune disorder where your body attacks your pancreas and doesn't allow your pancreas to do its work. That's a different situation. And that often occurs in childhood, although it has been known to occur in adulthood too. But typically it occurs in childhood. Kids are born with it, or they develop it early on. But that's a whole other circumstance. The type 2 diabetes that I'm referring to is what can be prevented and often is brought on by the way we live our lives and the way we feed our bodies and the way we manage stress and the way we don't sleep and all of the things that if they're done well, give you a very healthy, robust life. If they're done poorly, will cause all sorts of chronic disease states. So sleep being one of them, and getting enough sleep, and getting between 7 and 9 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Because you need those cycles, those REM cycles, those rapid eye movement. That's the deep sleep where you're dreaming. But you need to go through those cycles, and every one of those cycles is about 90 minutes. And so you need several of them through the night. And if you wake up and interrupt your 90-minute cycle, then depending on where you are in that cycle, it could completely set you up for a miserable day or a miserable several hours before you finally snap out of it. But it's really important that you get plenty of sleep. So your body wakes up naturally in the morning. You don't have to interrupt anything with an alarm clock. Because as you come out of one of those cycles, your sleep becomes lighter. And if it's time for you to wake up, if you're fully rested, your body will naturally wake itself up. So if you're able to go to bed at the right time so that you can get up at the right time without setting an alarm, that's the best way to do it. And keeping a schedule every single day, regardless of the day of the week it is, whether it's a day off or not, keeping the same sleep schedule is also very beneficial. Going to sleep by 10 o'clock at night and making sure that you go to sleep and you do all the things that I recommended before. And then your body, within 7 to 9 hours later, will naturally wake itself up unless you're sleep deprived. But if you're able to do that on the regular, then your body will naturally find its rhythm and be able to get itself up without the use of an alarm clock. I have a 4-legged alarm clock that gets me up every morning, so I don't really have to. It doesn't matter what time I go to sleep. At 6:30 in the morning, she's up and ready to go outside, so I have to get up and make sure she takes care of business. But making sure that you have a regular sleep schedule is really beneficial, because if your sleep is erratic and all over the map and you're staying up late on the weekends and sleeping in late on the weekends, you're not going to make up for the lost sleep throughout the rest of the week. But you will end up disrupting your sleep schedule. So when I was working in a corporate job, Sunday nights were the worst for me because I would have a hard time getting to sleep in anticipation of the week ahead. So I'd be up really late, awake, even though I'd gone to bed at a reasonable hour. I'd be lying awake really late, and I refused to look at the clock. So I keep my eyes closed. I refuse to look at the clock because I don't want to know how few hours I have left before the alarm goes off. Sometimes we think, oh, well, if I go to sleep right this minute, I'll have 4 more hours before the alarm goes off. Well, I wouldn't do that because I did not want to know how close to the alarm I was at that point, because it would just make me more anxious and I wouldn't be able to sleep anyway. And then I'd be up with a completely sleepless night, and that really does not go well for me, at least. And it doesn't go well for anybody, because sleep deprivation is not a heroic move. It's actually something that it doesn't benefit anybody. It doesn't benefit you or anybody that you're working for or with or living with or taking care of or whatever. It benefits no one, because you're not at your best when you're not sleeping well. So it really is important. And I've learned this through bitter experience over the years. It really is important to get a good night's sleep so that you can feel as well as possible every day, as healthy and as energized as possible every day. And, you know, there are many things that cause interrupted sleep. There's medication, there's alcohol, so minimizing alcohol consumption. And I would really recommend that you not drink alcohol before you go to sleep, because alcohol has actually a rebound effect. It may have a tranquilizing effect initially, and you may fall asleep, but in the middle of the night, you'll wake up with, in my case, I used to wake up drenched in sweat with my heart pounding and having an anxiety attack, because that was the rebound that occurred in my life when I was consuming several glasses of wine before I went to sleep at night. So I haven't had a glass of wine or any alcohol, except for maybe a glass of champagne at a wedding or something, in 15 years. And I don't miss it. I don't miss how it made me feel in the morning. I don't miss how it made me feel at night. It would help me get to sleep initially, but 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd wake up and every problem I ever had in my entire life was right there in front of me, wanting to be solved. So my chances of getting back to sleep were very slim at that point. And that just wasn't helpful at all. So I don't consume alcohol anymore. It doesn't do well for me. I don't feel well. Even one glass of wine would give me a headache the next day. What is the point of that? And why I continued to do that until I stopped, I don't understand. But at least I stopped, and I don't do it anymore. So minimizing alcohol consumption before you go to sleep. Also, during the day, making sure that you're getting out in sunlight, at least 10 or 15 minutes a couple of times a day. And look in the direction of the sun, not look at the sun, but get up early in the morning as the sun is rising and look east, so that you're getting those photons into your eyes, you're absorbing those rays. You're also getting some vitamin D, which is helpful to regulate sleep. So getting that sunlight in your eyes a few times a day will help you to get your circadian rhythm, your body's rhythm, in sync with the cycles of the earth. You know, because we're all cyclical, and so when you get in sync with the cycles of the earth, you'll be able to sleep when it's time to sleep, and you'll be able to wake when it's time to wake, because everything is cyclical. We are all connected. We're connected to the earth. Everything works together. We're all very energetic, and all of our energy syncs up. And you know, they talk about you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Well, because we all sync up all the time. So that if you have 5 people that you spend the most time with, typically you're gonna start behaving similarly. You're gonna develop the same bad habits, but you could also develop the same good habits. But you are the product or the sum of whatever you are surrounded by, because you absorb that, and everything sort of syncs up together. So it is, you know, it's very helpful for you to get out in nature a couple of times a day, so that you can sync up with nature, and you can sleep when it's time to sleep, and you can wake when it's time to wake, among other things. All your other systems kind of sync up and do what they're supposed to do when you're balanced and healthy and running on all cylinders. So making sure that you are just getting outside and getting some sunlight every day, that would be really helpful. So getting your sunlight every day, and vitamin D, making sure that you are limiting alcohol consumption, and even eliminating it. I wouldn't think badly of you if you eliminated it. Actually, I think it's a good idea. Making sure that you don't eat so much right before bed. You know, make sure you're putting a large gap of time between the last time you eat and the time you go to bed. Making sure that you're consuming enough water during the day so that you're hydrated throughout the day, and maybe limiting a little bit of your liquid consumption before you go to sleep so you're not up going to the bathroom all night long. Getting some exercise, but not too close to bedtime. And all of these things will help you to get a good night's sleep. Have your sleep routine at night. You know, sleep in a darkened room, a dark and cool room. Keep electronics away from you. All those things will help you to get a better, deeper night's sleep. So if you would like help with any of this, you want to talk about this, you want to talk about any other aspects of your health, if you need help balancing your blood sugar, if you need help eliminating the cravings, make an appointment with me. I give a free consultation. And all you have to do is go to my website, yourpoweryourhealth.com/book, and book yourself a consultation with me. And I'm happy to have a conversation with you about anything. And we'll talk about where you are. We'll talk about what you need. I'll give you some steps to get there. If you choose to work with me, that'd be great. If not, no worries. You will still have some good action steps to take to get you started on your healthy path. So I look forward to talking to you next time. Have a great day. I'm Karen Sammer, your Power Your Health, Nutrition and Health Coaching, and I'm here to help you anytime I can. Thank you so much.